Hello again. I'm still Ben. Back to the hat to see what our topic is today. No, I dropped it. Oh, it's the first one I've dropped, everybody. Did anybody hear that in the mic, actually? I don't even know if the mic picked that up. I said, no, I dropped it. Let's see. Oh, medical industry, single-payer universal health care. Easy. This is also kind of an easy peasy, simple to understand topic. Every other functional modern country in the world has a level of universal health care. The medical industry is suffering here by forcing it to be a profitable industry. In fact, many industries are suffering the same way because we insist that profit is something that somehow has to happen, even though it doesn't. It doesn't actually have to happen. It can just be a service that we pay with our taxes, which is exactly how universal health care was supposed to work. So, it already comes out of your taxes, and it's not going to come out of anybody except the rich people's taxes because, they're the ones who have the money to tax. If you're a normal American, a regular, tax bracketed sort of person, you will actually be paying less money, compared to corporate welfare in order to get universal effective health care. And, frankly, it's not fair to the medical industry either, because you've got people who want to go into this industry in order to help people. You've got people who are doctors and nurses and peripherals who, dream of ending suffering because they've seen and experienced so much of it themselves, and instead they're forced to try to peddle big pharma pills for things that could be cured otherwise, for things that we already have cures for in many cases. So there's no path forward for American healthcare that works besides a universal healthcare system. Everybody not talking about it, everybody opposing it, everybody straight up ignoring the fact that something like 90% of the country at this point want an affordable version of healthcare. They want it to be affordable. They don't want to have these medical bankruptcies, which, hey, I'll tell you this, we went into medical bankruptcy because of some of our issues and choices, choices like having a child in this country. There's no way forward except universal health care. And the more the government doesn't even try to address it or do anything about it, the more obvious it is that they just are telling you to go fuck off and die. This is a betrayal on every level because we can see all the other modern nations doing pretty well in terms of general health care because that's how it's supposed to work. We need to get rid of this profit-based idea in our heads that everything has to somehow make money in order to be good for us. It doesn't. We can just decide the things we want and pay into them collectively. That's what taxes are for. That's how it works. Universal health care or bust. Everybody standing in the way, you're on fucking notice because you're traitors to the will of the American people by 89 or 90%. I really want to think about that. 9 out of every 10 people in the country want this to happen. And our government keeps going, we have to invade Venezuela. What more is it going to take, people? We've got to do something serious about this. Universal health care, necessary, mandatory. My name is Ben Howison. Sursum Corda.